Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. In a world filled with endless opportunities, why would two men who have built 13 multi-million-dollar businesses altruistically invest 5 hours per day to teach you the best practice business systems and moves that you can use? Because they believe in you, and they have a lot of time on their hands. They started from the bottom, now they're here. It's the Thrive Time Show starring the former U.S. Small Business Administration's Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark, and the entrepreneur trapped inside an optometrist's body, Dr. Robert Zillner. Two men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses.
We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here.
Mr. Clyde started from the bottom, and now we're at the top, teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colton Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. C's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of 5, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the CNC up on your radio, and now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom.
All right, Thrive Nation, on today's show, we're going to have a blasty blast. We're going to tap into the wisdom of Matt Klein. I really want to tap into his wisdom on this concept of what do you need to do to achieve financial freedom this year. So if you're in corporate America, maybe you own a business, and maybe you have been stuck in a rut, and you're saying to yourself, I would like to earn an additional 6 figures a year by owning my own business. And I guess it is possible if you own an OxyFresh franchise to earn more than that. It's also possible to earn less than that. But I'm going to really hone in on how to make 6 figures, an additional 6 figures a year, running a business that doesn't require you to actually clean all the carpets. Let me try again. So if you're a doctor, you're a dentist, you're a lawyer, you're a firefighter, you have another job, and you're trying to bring in another 6 figures a year, but you want to keep your current job, and you want to have what is called an owner absent business, or a business that doesn't have to be owner operated. You, as the business owner of an OxyFresh franchise, you don't have to clean all the carpets. I want to tap into his wisdom about how to do that. And with that being said, Matt Klein, welcome onto the Thrive Time Show. How are you, sir?
I am doing great. Thanks for having me.
So, Matt, I'm going to tee up some things I think you have to do if you want to be a successful OxyFresh franchise owner. First step, so we're not getting too far ahead of ourselves, you have to buy one. And I've met literally hundreds of people that own an OxyFresh franchise. I've met them at the annual conferences, and I've met them at other locations with OxyFresh and Jonathan Barnett over the years. And they tell me, the people who've purchased them have said it's about $50,000, $60,000-ish to buy a franchise. Most of them that I've talked to were used some kind of outside financing. Tell us, how much does it cost, and how do most people pay for the OxyFresh?
Yeah, very technically, the price of the franchise is $44,900. That will get you your protected territory, your entire equipment setup, your product setup, your 7-year agreement with OxyFresh, plus the training will fly you to Colorado, and you're going to spend about 4 days with us. Okay, but there's also an element of this of operating costs, right? So once you buy it, we train you, and you're ready to go. We still want you to have about $25,000 in operating capital to cover things like insurance, local marketing, monthly vehicle cost, employee cost if you don't do the jobs in the beginning, right? So you just want enough money there where you're not pinching pennies and trying to grow a business.
So let's talk about it again. So it's 44,000. You said that's the number?
44,900. So closer to 45.
I'm not going to do it today, but I kind of want to I'll do it just to prove a point. I'm not the guy who likes to drive bougie cars, but let's just pretend that I'm feeling the flow. I'm just like, man, I want to get a bougie car today. So there's a couple of moves. If I want to get a bougie car and have it the next 24 hours, I could do it, and I'll tell you how I would do it. This is the process I would go through. One, I would use this controversial technology called the Google, and I'm going to go and I'm going to just type in Tulsa, Jackie Cooper. That's kind of the place you go to. It's the dealership. If you want to get in the flow, you want to drive yourself a luxury vehicle. So you go to Jackie Cooper and you show up. I don't know if Jackie will be there. I don't know if he'll be there, but I have a guy I work with over there. He's a good guy. He's also a golf pro, by the way. So I go over there and I say, hey, because I used to own a Mercedes for when I would pick up clients to interview them on my podcast. A lot of times we'd have clients that would fly in. And so it made sense for a window of my life to have a luxury car that can be used to pick up the client. So the client gets picked up at the airport, and I don't want to pick up the client in my white van primarily. I like my white van, but I don't know if that's a great first impression. So a lot of times I would pick up a client and or a potential podcast guest, a big time name, to interview them in studio. I would have my team show up in a Mercedes. Now, I don't know anything about automobiles. It's really not my flow, but let's just look up what Mercedes has to offer this year. So the Mercedes 2024 cars, I'm not a luxury car guy. I really don't know what I'm doing here, but this is how I would do it if I wanted to buy one. So I would go here. I'd look for the vehicle. I'd figure it out. I'm going, the E-Class, maybe that's a good car. I don't know. E-Class, and I'm going to say cost. I'm going to type that in. You're really hacking into the mainframe here. I'm like, that's 62,000. Well, that sounds more than the 44,000 Matt Klein was talking about, but it's 62,000. And I'm not going to buy an OxyFresh, but I am going to splurge on this vehicle. And then I'm just going to say, well, what's the cost of a vehicle? So I'm going to type in mortgage calculator. Someone says, mortgage? You're going to get a mortgage for a car? Well, the word mortgage means death grip, so we could argue about it, but it's a car payment. And so then I'm going to take my, I'm going to say I'm going to borrow 62,300, and I'm going to say I'm going to get a bad deal. For some reason the banker doesn't like me. Things aren't going well for me. He's not going to let me do a 30-year though. I might be able to trick him into a 5, but my payment, let's just say give or take, it's $447 plus insurance plus whatever. There it is. That's my car. Woo! Got my car. Yes. Now, Matt, a lot of people do that all the time to buy a car, but very few people do that to buy a franchise. Very few people have that thought about, what? I'm going to go to the bank. I'm going to borrow money to buy a business. Why, Matt? Why do people have that? Is it easy? Is it a normal idea to go get a car payment, but not an easy idea, not a normal idea to get a business payment?
Yeah, it's because I feel like we've kind of been brainwashed a little bit to like cars are important, right? But if you think about it, that car is going to cost you money. Whereas a business for the same investment will make you money, right? It just kind of depends on where you're at. I mean, one of them will absolutely depreciate the moment that you own it, whereas a business will appreciate the moment that you own it, right? It kind of depends on what you want out of that $62,000. If you want a car, right, then you're going to you might as well just burn the money. Where to me, my wife always laughs at me. She's like, every time I see like a Ford Transit, those little ugly box cars that are everywhere, they're not good, right? The opposite of what you're looking at on your screen in terms of a Mercedes. I look at that like gold. That vehicle to me is more important than like a Ferrari, because that little tiny $20,000 ugly box van is an asset to me that I know now how to make $4,000 or $5,000 a month on, right? So like that car that I spend $300 a month on or $400 a month on now is an asset to me that will create income. Whereas if I buy that Mercedes, that thing might look nice, but it will actually take money away from me on a monthly basis where my business will put money in my pocket. So it kind of depends on what you want out of life, right? If you want to look good, that vehicle might do it, but I'll be able to buy 5 of those Mercedes in my business if I want to, if you run it right.
Now, Robert Kiyosaki is the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and he's actually been on my show before, and I've had an opportunity to be on his show before. Robert Kiyosaki. I think the last time that I was on with Robert, let's see how it did here, but Robert Kiyosaki, I love his show, and it's called the Rich Dad Radio Show. Does a really good job, and he talks about personal finance. And so there you go. That's the last show I was on with him there. And he's been on with me, and Robert's just a wonderful, entrepreneurial, no nonsense sort of teacher. He sold over 60. Think about this, folks. He sold over 65 million copies of his books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's crazy. And he says rich people acquire assets. The poor and middle class acquire liabilities that they think are assets, like you just said. So an asset is something that makes you money, and a liability is something that costs you money. This is a true story. The other day, I ran into a former employee, Matt. I hadn't seen the guy in probably 4 years, 5 years. I ran into him, and he was an all-star. This guy was awesome. But he wanted to move to pursue other things, not necessarily leave my business because he wasn't happy, just to like pursue a different phase of his life. So
Yep.
I ran into the guy and I'm like, bro, town, you want to come back and join the team? He's like, I do. I didn't know if I burned a bridge. I do want to come join the team. I said, what are you doing now? He's like, well, I just moved back into town. I finished doing my, life trip, kind of his missions trip, that whole thing. And he says, I'd love to join the team. Is that cool? I said, yeah. He said, what would I do? I said, I don't know. I'm just going to hire you. Let's go. So I hired him. I'm true story. Hired the guy. I said, how much are you going to pay me? I told him, give you a base pay of like $1,000 a week, and then I'll figure out what you're going to do. I have no idea what you're going to do, but I'll figure it out over the weekend. And I brought him back on because he's an asset. The guy brings in more revenue than I pay him. And I know that whether he's calling leads for my haircut business, or whether he's working for the dog training business, or whether he's working in my real estate properties I have, or whether he's booking conference tickets, or whether he's coaching clients, man, he's an asset. So I have no problem putting money in that. But to your point, you put money into a car, you're going to lose money. So an asset is something that makes you money. A liability is something that costs you money. So we go back into this idea of how do you earn an extra $100,000 per year by running a franchise while keeping your current job. Once you do that, you got these 4 or 5 core things you have to do. Step 1, you have to clean carpet. What? And teach people how to clean carpet. I didn't say you have to clean carpet. Somebody who works for you has to clean that carpet. Second thing is you have to gather objective Google reviews. 3, you have to never stop the interviews. What? 4, you have to do a daily huddle every day that you don't hate yourself. Okay, so let's get into that. So why do you have to huddle with your guys every day and just say, guys, these are the jobs you're doing. What jobs did you do yesterday? What jobs are you doing today? Why do you have to just huddle up with your core team every day, even if you're not the one cleaning the carpets?
Yeah, I think as an owner of a company, it's, I've seen my business really thrive and or take steps back by my involvement with my employees. If I'm really engaged and I know that, where they're at and where they stand, even down to the point of like if they're having a bad day, and I can tell just because I have enough communication with them to kind of understand what's going on with them, your business will not only be better because your employees will do things above and beyond for you because they know you're invested in them, right? Time spent is almost as much as money given because they know as a person you can actually, you're interested in their success, right? If you just hire someone, you don't speak to them, right? They're going to start to do things that are more based on their benefit and not necessarily yours. So you need to keep communication with them, not only in terms of relationship, but also in terms of understanding where you might be able to adjust your business to be better, or maybe adjust that person to be better. I mean, that one is a given. If you have a business and you have employees and you don't know what's going on with them, that's a failure of operations.
Now let's talk about this again, folks. There's 4 things you have to do. So once you buy a franchise, okay, this is what you do. It's not, there's other little details, but these are the main things. You can never stop the interviews, and you can never stop getting Google reviews. Every single time that you clean a carpet, you want to wow the customer and gather an objective review from real customers. You just can never, ever, ever stop doing that. Now, you might say, well, I don't want to get reviews today. Well, then you're not going to have a good day. You say, well, I don't want to do an interview today. Well, you're not going to have a good day. You got to never stop the interviews and never stop the Google reviews. Can you talk to me about why can we never stop getting the Google reviews, and why can we never stop the interviews?
Yeah, the Google review one is very simple. People are waking up. Companies that didn't know what they were doing 3-4 years ago are starting to understand where they've been missing the mark in terms of where customers can find them, specifically on Google. If you cannot be found easily on Google, your road to success is going to be paved with a bunch of hard work and knocking on doors, right? You need to be where your consumers are searching. And so those Google reviews will keep you top of mind. They'll allow you to be able to be validated by your peers, right? The last review you got was 6 months ago. You look like your business is not open. And this is a failure of almost all small businesses, is that they get to a point, they get some reviews, and they start seeing success, they stop. Well, what you do when you stop is you allow other companies to catch up to you and or surpass you, right? And then you're behind the ball. So I make that a point of emphasis. Every single call I've ever had with my employees, I make sure they know that I'm looking at where they're at, what their reviews are at, and what their goal is for the next 5 to 7 days, right? So, I mean, it's probably the most important thing you can do for your business.
And again, OxyFresh, folks, I just want you to know this. I mean, if you buy an OxyFresh, they have a call center that schedules the calls for you. They have a proven marketing team. They have an unbelievable onboarding process. You get to go to Denver and see how it all works. It's really just the experience alone of seeing how the OxyFresh franchise is run. I believe to be very inspiring and encouraging for people just to see how the brand has been built. But then eventually, you also have to clean carpet and teach people how to clean carpet. Now, this is something that I think a lot of people shy away from. I'm not attacking OxyFresh. I'm not attacking Domino's, but on part 2 of today's show, we're going to do an interview with my good friend who happens to own a lot of Domino's, like this guy is making millions of dollars while selling pizza. And you go, what? Yeah. This guy started off delivering pizzas. His story is fascinating. Okay. This is a friend of mine who's a multi-millionaire and he owns Domino's. You say, how do you get started? Delivering pizzas. What? Yeah, he's delivering pizzas. And one day he goes to the boss. He says, boss, hey, I'd like to own this location. Can I own it? And the boss is like, no. Okay. About a year later, hey, boss, can I own the location? No. Okay. About a year later, about 2 years into the pizza game, he's like, boss, I'd really like to own one of these. The boss says, okay, we could talk about you buying me out or something. And so, the boss bought the franchise at a low price and he sold it at a higher price. Well, Eddie just kept buying and buying and buying. And now today he's one of the most successful Domino's franchises on the planet. And what he specializes in is making sure that people actually like the pizza. And then he gets the review, but he does the same thing. He's got to do a daily huddle. He's got to never stop the interviews. He's got to get the Google reviews. He's got to make sure people are happy with the pizza. Talk to me about why at the end of the day, you do have to clean carpet and clean carpet well.
Yeah, because it doesn't take very many failures of what you promise you're going to do. It's the same reason that good reviews will help your business. Bad reviews will tank your business, right? If you get 4 out of every 5 reviews are negative, it's not going to take long for people to see that, well, they've gotten 20 reviews and 15 of them are poor, right? That customer, that you make that customer's decision extremely easy if they can't go in and find a majority of your reviews being positive. Right. So you have to do what you say you're going to do. If you say you're going to be there on time, you need to be there on time. If you say that you're an eco-friendly carpet cleaner, you need to be an eco-friendly carpet cleaner. If we say, like in our instance, it's 1 hour dry time, you can't leave the customer with 10-hour dry times. Right. So you have to actually do what you're going to say, because then that customer will say, oh, that's amazing. Right. If you do the opposite of what you say, the customer's going to be like, well, this was dumb. Like, I hired this company because they were going to get in and get out in 1 hour dry time. 24 hours later, I'm still stuck with wet carpets. Right. I mean, those things seem not important, but to a consumer, it'll ultimately feel like you lied to them.
And on a kind of a brass tacks detail thing, if you go to thrivetimeshow.com/oxyfresh, that's where you can learn how to buy a franchise. Really, you're just scheduling that first consultation. Matt, tell us, what questions am I not asking you that, people ask right away when they fill out the form, you call them, and immediately potential buyers are asking the following questions. We'll spend those final 90 seconds here, sir. What are those initial questions that most people ask when they go to thrivetimeshow.com/oxyfresh to learn how to buy a franchise?
Yeah, a real important one is what areas are available. So first thing we'll do when we talk to people is just see kind of where they're at, what areas of the country they're familiar with, and I'll pull a map and see exactly what territories are available. That way we know that they have some comfortability with the territory that they may buy. Other questions are, they just ask me, what are some of the challenges, right? What are some of the challenges of owning a business? Because 90% of people I deal with, they've never done this before. So we'll talk through all of the kind of hardships of owning a business. It's not specific to OxyFresh. Okay. And then they'll ask me specifically what our advantages are, right? Our advantages are national scheduling center takes the calls, eco-friendly cleaning system, completely automated back-end software support, right? And our team of managers and coaches that will help our franchisees in the very beginning just get off the ground in an onboarding specialist way in terms of being able to have a franchise coach. So I'd like to think we're a fully functioning franchise top to bottom, but that doesn't mean we do everything for you.
Matt, I think there's somebody out there that's going, well, I don't know if I have the money. I don't know if I have the time. I want to buy it. I don't know. And I think they feel like just talking to you might waste your time. Can you walk us through, how does that first call go? Is it a half hour? Is it 20 minutes? I mean, just because I know there's many people who've told me they've bought a franchise after talking to you, but they were a little bit hesitant at first of maybe thinking that some of their questions they were going to ask were dumb or maybe not worth your time. How long is that initial consultation?
Yeah, it's usually about 20 to maybe 30 minutes if there's a ton of questions. And really what I'm trying to get to is who you are, what you're trying to accomplish, what some of maybe your background is, right? What maybe down to family dynamics. Like, what are you trying to accomplish with this next venture of your life? Right. We'll talk a little bit about the funding and where you stand there. We'll certainly talk about territory. Right. I'll explain the advantages, kind of what we do for our franchisees and what our franchisees need to do for themselves. Right. But it's very kind of an elementary conversation, because what I'm trying to get to is enough synergy in that conversation to move it to a way more in-depth, hour-long screen share where we can dive really deep into the business, their specific market, competition, marketing, all of that. But that first one is really just completely exploratory.
Matt Klein, I really do appreciate you carving out time for us there, sir. You're a great American, and I really do believe in the OxyFresh brand and what you do. And I encourage everybody to go to thrivetimeshow.com/OxyFresh to learn more. That's thrivetimeshow.com/OxyFresh. Matt Klein, take care. Have a great day, sir.
Hey, thank you.
Bye. On today's show, we interview the Domino's Pizza King. That's right, folks. We interview the Prince of Pizzas and the Domino's dominant franchisee, Eddie Hall, as he shares with you how he built a $20 million pizza business, one pizza at a time. On today's show, Eddie Hall shares with you his path to building a $20 million pizza franchise business and a commercial real estate empire, and how it all started by getting a job working at Domino's at the age of 18. He shares with you the importance of knowing your numbers, of having a calendar, having a to-do list, and just implementing the proven systems that work. If you want to own luxury cars and you want to live a life of phenomenal ends and means, this is the show for you, because Eddie Hall is dropping knowledge bombs like we've got a radar lock on an old school Saddam.
Attention entrepreneurial students, this is not a test. This is a real knowledge bombing. A total carpet bombing. Complete knowledge bombing. This is not a test. Please report to the lab with a pen and a pad where you can hide from the truth.
3, 2, 1, boom! You are now entering the dojo of Mojo and the Thrive Time Show.
Thrive Time Show on the microphone. What is this? Top of the iTunes charts in the category of business. Drilling down on business topics like we are a dentist. Providing you with mentorship like you are an apprentice. And we go so fast that you might get motion sickness. Grab a pen and pad to the lab. Let's get in this. It's time to bear some fruit like some Florida oranges. 3, 2, 1. Here come the business ninjas.
Sonic boom!
Yes, yes, and yes. Thrive Nation, on today's show, this is the most excited I have been to do an interview, and I'm going to go with in a year. I'm going to say a year. Wes, I'm going on the record. This is the most excited I've been in about a year.
That's pretty impressive. Whoa.
We interviewed Sharon Lecter, who wrote the Rich Dad Poor Dad book. That was good. That was good. But this is so practical. So if you're listening right now today and you need tactical, practical skills to pay the bills, if you want to create time freedom, I want you to turn to the person next to you in the car who's listening right now with you and kind of go, shh, 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 shh. I want you to just shh, shh. Whenever you shush somebody, you feel bad. So let me shush them for you. You just look at them and I'll shush them. Shh. Then I need you to pull over, maybe get out a pen and pad, because we are going to enter into the dojo of Mojo Fo Show. On today's show, we have the super successful Domino's Pizza franchise owner, Eddie Hall. Eddie Hall, welcome onto the Thrive Time Show. How are you, sir?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Oh man, I am excited that you are here, and I'm sorry I misplaced the microphone, but it's closer to you now. Are you feeling good today?
Yeah, I'm short. Sorry.
Okay. Now you started your career with Domino's, I believe, in 1999. Is that correct?
I started in 92.
92.
First franchise in 99. Yeah.
How old were you in 92?
92, I was 18.
18?
Yep.
And how did you get the money to start this first franchise?
So first franchise in 99, I was actually 25.
25.
So, yeah, to get that money, I actually partnered up with another supervisor that I was working with in Dallas.
Yeah.
And his dad had a $100,000 working capital to invest in us, and then we took our savings that we had over the 7 years that I worked at Domino's in Dallas.
Did you start off as a driver, Domino's driver?
I actually started, so 95% of franchisees start as a driver. I actually started my first day as a manager in training, but did the first 4 weeks of delivering pizzas. So
Go back,
yes and no.
Go back,
That's
if you
awesome.
can, mentally back to the age of 18. Where was this Domino's located?
It was in Richardson, Texas.
Richardson, Texas.
Yep.
How many people were working in the store?
So this store wasn't a super high volume store. There was probably about 15
Employees?
employees, yeah.
The 18-year-old version of yourself. Being just totally transparent here. Were you an idiot at the age of 18?
Definitely.
Yeah.
You were an
I was a punk kid.
A punk.
Idiot. Yeah.
Yeah. And then when did you realize, wow, I can escape the dark pole of jackassery and not be an idiot? When did you have that first thought?
So working in the stores, I was still that punk kid for probably about 6 to 8 months.
Okay.
I was pretty mature at the time. I had left my wife in El Paso. When I knew I wanted to become a manager, I was going to come out there, work hard, become a manager, then move back and marry her and move her to Dallas.
Got it.
So I worked up pretty hard. It was my supervisor came in one day and said, "You can't be these people's friends anymore. You got to be a leader."
Come on.
And
So you were, and how old were you at that time when he had that conversation with you?
I was probably 18 and a half, almost 19.
Okay, and so you remember it though.
Oh, 100%.
What was
Yeah.
his name?
Mark Frisbee. It's my mentor.
Do you think that Mark Frisbee changed your life?
Definitely 100%. Yeah.
Is he alive?
He is.
And where does he live?
He's in McKinney, Texas.
If you're out there today and you live in the McKinney, Texas area, and you see a Mark Frisbee, tell him he changed somebody's life. I'm telling you, this is so powerful. Some people say, Clay, who were your mentors, or who was your mentor? I'm a guy who I really, really like to read books from people that have figured it out. So wherever I'm stuck, I just read a book, or I'll relentlessly harass people. But I've had so many great mentors, and I'm just telling you, when you have somebody that unlocks your success, it's just powerful when somebody points you in the right direction. So he kind of straightened you out.
For sure, and I still talk to him today. In fact, I talked to him on Thursday. I'll call him and I'll fill up a notebook full of notes, just kind of old school stuff. I just love talking to him.
What kind of morons were you hanging out with? I mean, I'm not asking you to name specific names, but what kind of jackassery were these people involved in where you said, you just can't be around it anymore?
You name it. You name it, we were doing it. I mean, just, again, I was a little bit more mature. I already had a wife and kid, and so at a young age. So I kind of had to provide for them.
Got it.
But yeah, the friends at that age are always wanting to party and drink and go out and all that kind of stuff. I just wasn't doing that.
So then you got it together. And how old were you where you had the money from your friend's dad? He invested in you and the money you had saved. How old were you when you pulled the trigger and bought that first one?
25.
25?
Yep.
How much money did you save in your bank account on your own during those 7 years?
It wasn't a lot. We started off with about 15 grand.
15 grand
of my own money. Yeah.
15 grand saved over about 7 years. Working at Domino's.
Yep.
The first store, when you've got that first store of your own, do you remember that store?
And it was actually 4 stores. We bought 4 at the same time.
Do you remember all 4 of those stores?
Yeah, they were here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Yes.
Where were they?
71st and Sheridan.
Yeah.
26th and Harvard.
Yep.
Gilcrease and Edison.
Yep.
And 91st and Delaware.
Let's talk about it. Making pizzas. We make pizzas. People eat pizzas. People want pizzas. You sell pizzas. People spiritualize success. They always come to me all the time. I get frustrated. If you're listening out there today and you attend church, please understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. If you sow seeds and you water the seeds and you live in an area where the temperature's the right type of temperature, the soil's the right kind of soil, you can grow corn. You can. Heathens can grow corn. Christians can grow corn. Atheists are growing corn. On the Forbes billionaire list right now, there are so many really awful people who are on the list, and great people. There's so many great people and bad people. Money just magnifies. But when you say that because you believe in the Bible that God's going to bless your business, that's not the case if people don't want the crap you're selling. So turns out people in America want pizza. And I don't know if you've spiritualized this idea, but people want pizza, and pizza that tastes good. And people I know eat Domino's pizza because they like the pizza. But there's so many people running around like, what's my niche? I don't know my niche. I don't know how can I find my niche? And I'm going, hey, listen, I say this all the time. That's why I'm so excited to interview. I say, if you don't know what you want to do, sell freaking pizza.
Yeah.
And they go, what? And I go, listen, Americans want to gain weight. We want to gain weight. We want to eat the carbs. We know we should be carb free, but we don't care. We want pizza.
Pizza and tacos.
Pizza, yeah. We're taking the kids home from soccer practice, and we're all going, Do you guys want to get some pizza or pizza? Every time. Dad, didn't you just start Jenny Craig last week? Oh, yeah, but let's get some pizza. I mean, that's what we're doing. So help somebody out there who maybe is adverse to franchising because they say, I don't like pizza, or I'm not a big fan of carpet cleaning. Because I know so many people are making tons of money in franchising, cleaning carpets, who don't even like carpet, who don't even have carpet in their house. Talk to help somebody out there that's stuck on that idea.
So I actually, probably about 5 years into my career, I decided that I wanted to do my own pizza place. And I was like, man, I want to open my own pizza place. I started looking at the costs and marketing and all that kind of stuff. And I said, you know what? Kind of slapped myself in the face. And I said, why don't I do what I know and open a Domino's Pizza and franchise? And so that's when I started pursuing that. I mean, the thing about a franchisor or the franchise system is that everything, if it's a good one, everything is provided for you. You don't have to figure all that stuff out. When I went to my first training class at Domino's as a franchisee, they said, you're a pizza maker. You hire a lawyer, you hire a marketing person, you let us figure out the systems, and you just go make pizzas and make a lot of money.
Oh, yes.
And so that's a big deal in the franchise system, is hopefully that stuff's already put together for you.
I love this. And Josh and I were talking the other day. We had a great, I don't know if Josh... if you picked up on this, if you thought what you said was super deep, but you might not have felt it. Josh, you said, well, Clay, as it relates to business, I know you know what you're doing. So if you say to do it, I'm just going to do it. The rest of life, I'm not going to ask you for tips on necessarily, but business, and that's what a franchise is. You buy a system that works and you work the system. But Josh, can you explain this, because you own your own company and you come to us not for life advice, but for specifically, like, how do I grow a business?
Yes, sir.
Can you explain that coachable mindset? Because somebody out there's just got to get that in their cranium.
Well, I think for a lot of our listeners out there, a lot of other people, not our listeners,
No.
but like other people that listen to other shows in North Korea,
yes, North Korea
think that they have all the answers already, or think that they're mapping to a goal of being a millionaire. You know, everybody says, I'm going to make $1 million by the time I'm 30.
Yep.
But their actions map to the club at Friday night at 2 o'clock in the morning. So what I would say in that is, find somebody who's been there, somebody who's done it, somebody like Eddie or somebody like Steve Currington or Clay or Wes or whomever. Find somebody who's already been to the mountaintop, who's already gotten to where you want to be, and then just shut up and listen to them. You know, I get a chance to talk to some people, and I just say, I told you when we were talking about that the other day, I was talking to a young man that we get to speak to.
Yep.
And I said, you know, when I sit in the room with Clay, he gives me 3 things to do, and I walk away and I do those 3 things. I've never said, well, Clay, I just don't think that's going to work in my business. Hey, I really don't think you know what you're talking about.
And real quick, I want to make sure listeners understand this. I cite everything I say in the meeting, so I'm always going to pull up a case study or a stat or a fact. I'm never like, I think this might work. You know, like when you wanted to name your company Living Water, I was not present at that meeting.
No, sir.
And if you would have said, how should I name my company? I'd say, name it something memorable. And you might say Living Water. And I would say to you then, okay, you're going to irritate people that are not Christians probably, and you're going to win over Christians. Are you okay with that? Cool, move on. But again, Reid Hoffman, who couldn't be here today because he's kind of a big deal. Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn, says the fastest way to change yourself is to hang out with people who are already the way you want to be. Sounds like Josh Wilson. Wes, people such as myself hire you for legal advice.
Yep.
What happens when someone hires you for legal advice and does the opposite of it? I refer to these people as ask holes. They ask a question and then they take the knowledge and dump it into a hole.
You have to make sure you pause on that K.
Ask hole.
Well, I mean, personally, it's annoying. It's just, it's hard to understand. And you're going to pay me
Why are you calling me?
$350 an hour to give you the right answer, and then you're going to go do the exact opposite. So you're going to pay me $350 either way. You're probably going to end up paying me more because now you're going to screw it up because you're not listening. So if you don't think I have the answer, don't hire me. And if you're going to ignore everything that I tell you as far as the right way to handle a situation, and again, I'm not going to give you advice on things I don't know about. You come to me for my legal advice. Some people just, they think they have a better way, or they think that they're going to be unique, and the 900 cases before them don't apply. That they're going to be they're in a unique position, and they're going to reinvent something.
I'm going to Mars.
That's going to change.
I'm gonna live there and sell
the
pizza.
the entire world is going to bow down when they come out with this grand idea. So, I think people do that in the business world too. Though they don't want to take an established, proven system or a product. They want to be unique. They want to find a unicorn. They want to do something special. And I think that it leads a lot of people to poverty.
Now, doing something special. Eddie, you drive special cars, I think.
I think so. Yeah.
What are some of the cars you have that are special? Because again, someone might say you're not special because you're just selling pizza. So people like to minimize franchisees. I see this all the time.
Yeah.
Do you have you ever had this happen to you, where people who are creative, highbrow, educated people, they're like, oh, you just sell freaking pizza, right? I mean, do you drive special cars?
I do.
What are some special cars?
Yeah, I have a GT3 RS. I have a Porsche Turbo. I have an 81 wide body that we just finished.
Those are special cars.
Pretty special, yeah.
But what happens is somebody could be out there trying to come up with that special, unique business model that never works, and then they get to live a special way called homelessness.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a pizza / latte store.
Ooh.
/ neon sign
with local art that we sell on the side.
That's you see this all the time, and then you know your life is really falling off the wagon when you independently sell pinion wood 2 to 5 days a week. That's when the life is falling off the wagon. Have you seen these stores where they're open 2 to 5 days a week? They have little signs up that say we might be open or might not.
Might have wood.
Might have wood. There it is. Okay, so now you got the funding. You put in your money.
Yes.
As well as this other gentleman's money. How did you guys split profits? Did you agree 50-50? Was it 30-30 for 30?
Yeah, so we structured the company. There always has to be a 51% franchisee in the franchise system. Yeah. So Mike Higgins, which was my partner, he took on the 51%, and then me and his dad split the rest. But we did a 50-50 split on the profits. I was the operational guy in the system, so I kind of ran the operations when we first came out here. We were also in the middle of a sell, so we flipped those stores really quick. We bought them in August 99, flipped them in January of 2000. So there wasn't a whole lot to do when we first took them over. It was after that when I stayed on with that guy that we did more here in the Tulsa area.
Now, Dr. Z is not involved in franchising. He always says you have to have a 51% partner or he won't get into the business. Why do they require a 51% partner in the world of franchising?
Well, in Domino's case, it's so they can protect the brand.
Yep.
They got to make sure that somebody's in charge, somebody's making the decisions, and somebody's working the business. In fact, Domino's doesn't even allow you to do other businesses. So
Sweet.
You can't be a Domino's franchisee and own a Burger King.
You how many Domino's do you have now? How many do you own?
We have 17 with 3 more on the way.
17 with 3 more on the way?
Yeah.
Now, if you don't want to tell me, it's fine. But I want to know, and I'm going to ask you. And if you say no, I'll just come back again in a different way. I'm just kidding. For elephant in the room, when someone cuts their hair, when we cut someone's hair, the average ticket price is $42, and we're going to make about a 20% margin as a company, about $8.50 per cut average. I pay myself 2 of those dollars. When I get a pizza at Domino's, which we've done, I get a pizza at Domino's and we get a extra large or something. And say it's about $20 for an extra large ish.
Sure. Yeah. Close enough.
There are socialists that peak on this show sometimes. There's people out there that are, Steve, there are people who are not.
They don't stay very long.
They're in the Edmonton region up there, and they're right now laying on the railroad tracks, blocking shipments up there in Canada.
Is this question ethical?
They're in Skid Row out there in L.A. They're living in their mom's basement. They're at the medical marijuana store where the only thing they need pot for is not medical reasons. They're there, and they're going. He's going to ask, isn't he? Do you make a profit?
Yes, we do.
Okay, the cat's out of the bag. Now, do you guys try to stick in the 10%, 20% range? Is there a certain range, 40%? What do you do?
We run about 15%.
15%?
Yeah, and each store is different. I mean, my higher volume stores, of course, with great operations, can run up to 25% cash flow, EBITDA.
So, again, let's talk about this. So, if I buy a pizza for $20, you are getting, if the pizza's good, I'm happy, I'd pay, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. You're going to make about $3.
Yep.
You got to sell a lot of $3 to make a lot of money, don't you?
A lot of them, yep.
How many pizzas do you sell in a month?
Well, we'll do about $20 million this year in sales out of
Did you say
stores.
$20 million?
$20 million, yeah.
Of pizzas?
Yep.
That's a lot of Domino's.
Simple math seems like that's about 1 million pizzas.
I feel like
that's a lot of pizza.
I feel like Bernie Sanders is mad right now because Bernie wants people to be able to make money selling feelings,
Yeah.
and the the fact that you were born here, he wants to be able to monetize the fact that, like, I'm somebody too, or I have a degree. But at the end of the day, I'm just trying to make sure you get this. If you want to make millions, sell pizza, because Americans want to get fat. Write that down. Now, this is another deep thought, another tip for you. Years ago, I worked with a fitness company, and they used to send people text messages that would remind you to say, and they never sent it to you, Eddie, by the way, but they would send it to people, and they'd say, Eddie, you haven't been here in like 2 days, because they have a swipe card, and they know if you've been to work out or not. And they send you a text as we haven't seen you in 2 days. Come see us at the Yada Yada gym. And I told my client, I said, listen, I've worked with major big box gyms now on 4 occasions. Do not do that. I'm like, no, we want to do it. But listen, I'm telling you this. If you send people text message reminders, they will cancel as a way to say thank you. And seriously, but people want to have pizza parties at the gym where it's judgment free. Yeah. So you need to put fit people on the billboards, serve pizza in the gym. That's a move.
I was gonna say the texts work for pizza.
Oh my gosh. So
reminding
again,
you haven't ordered today.
So again, but in the franchise world, the text message, it texts you something like, "Are you hungry?" or something. And when in your office, I'm sure you're the one who does this. You are fattening my office up, which is good because winter's coming. But you send a text, I believe you do, or someone does, and it works. And it says something like, "Are you hungry?" And all of a sudden, I see Domino's boxes appearing around my office. Do you do that?
I don't personally send those out, but they go out from our system. Yeah. With a special or a coupon, and it tells you, it says.
But Eddie's not on a subscription. That the problem with the gyms is you're reminding yourself, you're right, I haven't been in 3 months. Why am I still paying for that? Yeah.
But you see, certain franchises, that's what I'm saying, is certain franchises, like Planet Fitness, in my opinion, gets it for fitness. They get it. Let's have a gym, call it judgment free. This is if you want to open a Planet Fitness, these are the tips. I'm giving them to you. Skinny people on the billboards, attractive people. Pizza parties in the gym. Do not remind people to come work out. That's not what they're doing. They just want to pretend like they want to work out. That's the key. You're selling the ability for them to work out, not the accountability to work out. That's a Planet Fitness. Now, back to the pizza place. Text people. They're hungry all the time. So what are some of the systems that work at Domino's where you've maybe seen franchisees push back on, but they work? Like systems where you go, this works, man, but people push back.
Man, I have the biggest one for you. So back in 2005, Domino's decided that they wanted to roll out a one system for all stores. And there was a huge pushback from the franchisees. But it is why our stock's at, 362 today or something like that now.
Like a software system or like an operating system?
It's a POS system.
Gotcha.
So we're all uniformed across the board. And now we have so many systems in place because of that. I can check right now. I can pull out my phone right now and show you to the minute what my sales are, what my food cost is, what my labor cost is. I can look at if you just place an order, I can actually go click on that order and see where it is in the store. I can tell if it's left yet or hasn't left yet. I mean, it's pretty amazing.
That's cool.
So that was one of the biggest things. There's hundreds of systems that they put in place. But that's the biggest one where there was some pushback, and then now it's been amazing.
So have you seen that lead to increased revenue?
Oh, for sure. Our online ordering system came out of that. Yeah. And if you remember, Patrick Doyle, our ex-CEO, he came out and said, we are a tech company that sells pizza.
There we go.
We would not have been able to do that without this POS system.
Now, what I see, and again, I just want to get into the nitty-gritty because this is so important. When you buy at Domino's, you have checklists for everything. Yep. You have a suggested org chart. You have an operations manual. You have a franchise disclosure document that discloses all these details. And some people hate the checklists because that would require them to be in a cage. And some people love it because they go, with all the checklists, that represents freedom. I think that you believe that the systems and checklists create freedom. Maybe you don't. But some people, they hate. I see people that buy a franchise, not necessarily a Domino's, but they'll buy a franchise, and they hate the checklist. They hate the lack of creativity. They're like, why can't I change my logo? Can you what is your mindset with all the systems?
I mean, look what I brought with me today. A checklist. So, I mean, I live off them. It's what I do every single day. I love that fact about Domino's. They're really good about it. I mean, I don't believe in reinventing the wheel. So let's use what works already. It's already been proven.
Yep.
And Domino's is good at that. So I love all that stuff.
When did you feel like you first started to gain traction as a Domino's owner? When did you feel like, you know what, I actually am going to rock and roll? Or did you ever even have any doubt at all?
So there's, I have two answers to that. The first time was in 2006. We had 4 stores, and we grew from 4 stores to 21 stores in 18 months. So I kind of felt like, I made it. And then 2008 happened, and I didn't make it, and we kind of got crushed. So I had to reorganize and downsize. So I would say probably the second time was more recent, within the last 6 years.
Yeah.
We really started growing, started pursuing commercial real estate on the side of Domino's. And so
You mean a simple-minded person that makes their millions one pizza at a time can buy commercial real estate too?
Oh, yeah, for sure. We had 3 properties in 2016, and now we have 15.
I was. Do you like to read or no? Are you a reader guy?
So I'm not. I listen. So
Okay. Well,
I'm not a huge
just the thing that you would like behind you on the wall. There's a picture right there of Henry Ford chopping wood, and the guy looking at him chopping wood is Thomas Edison. And over here is another picture of Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, William Wrigley, John D. Rockefeller. They're all hanging out. So you got Roy Firestone, you got Henry Ford, you got Carnegie, and they're all in the same place chopping wood. And some people say, well, this was the criticism on Henry Ford. They said, this guy is a mental numbskull. Henry Ford, this guy. All he does is makes black vehicles. He's a simpleton. And the criticism on Eazy-E, Thomas Edison, was that this guy's just like a simple dude. The most prolific inventor of all time. They're like, this guy is myopically focused. And I think a lot of times franchisees, and I work a lot in the franchisee space, you guys get labeled as being morons. I see it all the time by people who are the creatives. I see a lot of college campuses railing against these business professors, railing against the lack of creativity. I think this like all they do is sell pizzas. So let's talk about the U 2.0. Yes, you're making a lot of money selling pizzas. Commercial real estate. What was your first buy, your first property where you bought it and said, that was a win for America? The first one where you said, good job.
So I actually bought 2 locations when we grew to that 21 stores, so they kind of came with the purchase.
Yeah.
But my really first, let's buy this property and build it up was this property at 71st and Memorial.
Got it.
Pretty big purchase, $785,000 property that we spent about $300,000 on redoing. And so to be at 71st and Memorial in Tulsa, Oklahoma, with a Domino's, which by the way is right next to Pizza Hut, we did that on purpose. Was
opened
pretty
up
awesome.
Right next to Pizza Hut?
Same parking lot.
I'm looking at the screen here because Kendall's going to get this on video here, and you might you'll see on the big screen here. Is this the right corner? Am I looking at the right corner? Which corner do I need to turn to? I want to make sure the folks on YouTube can see it.
It is on the southeast corner.
Southeast. So I'm going to go south. Right here?
Yep.
Okay, going this way.
So scroll down a little bit.
Go into incoming traffic. Is this it right here?
Yep,
This
keep
is
going.
it.
Yep.
There's a Pizza Hut right here. Okay.
Yep.
You weren't lying. There's a Pizza Hut. Okay, there we go. You're sick. Yeah. You opened up a Domino's next to a Pizza Hut?
And then we put on that little sign there, we're going to huff and puff and blow the hut down. Remember that?
Are you aware? Were you aware that you did this? Was it an accident?
Oh, for sure. We were well aware.
Why would you do this?
To crush them.
I just think this is so big.
A man after Clay's own heart.
No, I love this. I love this. So now, how do you make money off of commercial real estate? What is your? Somebody out there is listening and they're kind of newer to this. We have a lot of doctors and dentists that don't own their building. How are you making money with this?
It's really simple. Take what you're paying in rent and now pay it to yourself. Really simple.
And again, there's somebody who's been watching TED Talks for 4 years in a row, reading every business book that I have in the man cave, running around gazing at their navel going, I'm just trying to figure out a great business model. Sell freaking pizza. Clean freaking carpets.
So do you have any tenants in any of your other commercial properties?
Yeah, for sure. So
other tenants?
Yeah, so in the last 2 years, we started building properties that had other tenants. So we have a 5,000 square foot in Bartlesville that has a nail salon. Our 14,000 square foot strip center in Edmond has an ice cream shop, a nail salon. We have another restaurant going in.
And a Domino's.
It always has a Domino's in it.
Okay, so that they're always got a Domino's and then some other love to go around.
The thing about commercial real estate that we figured out is if you're 50% leased out you're breaking even. So anything above that 50%, now you're making money.
Gravy.
So if you have a building that has 2 spots in it, one of them Domino's, you're already breaking even. So
I'm trying to communicate, and I don't think I'm doing a good job. And Josh Wilson has a hard out here in 6 minutes, so we're going to go fast. Is I feel like somebody out there is trying to overcomplicate the path to success. Andrew, I think I have a boom book over there by the printer, but it's not a complicated thing. Step 1, figure out how many customers do I need to have to achieve my financial goals. So if you make $3 per pizza, how many pizzas do you need to sell? That's your goals right there. Box number 1, okay? Box number 2, you got how many hours a week are you willing to work? I got to ask you, Eddie, how many hours a week are you willing to work?
unlimited.
Okay. Box 3. Now, again, you just heard that, unlimited. Some people are willing to, some people aren't. But don't say you want to be an NFL linebacker and be unwilling to put in the work. Box 3. What makes you different? Domino's has already thought about that. I mean, how often do you sit there and think about, how can we differentiate our pizza?
Never.
Interesting.
They do it for us.
Brand, you never think about the pizza?
No.
See, this is what
I just eat it.
People ask me all the time with Elephant in the Room, the haircut chain, do you spend your time thinking about new haircuts? No. Okay. Branding. You got to make your branding great, but Domino's does it for you. And don't you love it when people buy a Domino's and don't execute the systems? Don't you kind of see blood in the water and you're going, I'm going to buy you. Don't you like it?
And we had a lot of that in the middle 2000s.
You love this.
Yeah, I loved it.
You love it.
Hard to find those guys now. We've got some good operators. So.
Okay. And then the 3-legged marketing stool, you got to have a way you acquire customers. How does Domino's acquire customers? What do you do?
Oh, they're TV marketing, Facebook marketing, digital, and then the best way is provide great operations.
And don't you kind of, at a certain point as a franchisee, you can kind of go, they do a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to like think it. So, Josh, with Living Water, we've kind of, in a way, helped you to kind of franchise your business.
Oh, absolutely.
We're in the process of steamrolling. I think we can talk about it in a few different cities.
Yes, sir.
Which ones are you for sure going to in the next 12 months, maybe?
For sure, 1,000,000,000% Edmond, Oklahoma, and Bentonville, Arkansas.
Okay, when you go out to the new markets, do you have to make a new system to market?
No, sir.
Interesting.
I got a space for you in Edmond if you need one.
Oh, networking here.
I love it.
So talk to the listener there who's looking at the camera, listening in right now, who just wants to change the logo and the print piece and the branding every day as a way to fill their soul and search for significance while they can't find profitability.
Sure, philosophical thought is wonderful for people, but it's not really a really, really good thing to do if you want to make money. So you need to take action. You need to wake up every morning with a to-do list and a calendar. You need to go put in your hours. It's, we were talking about it earlier today, actually. Yep. It is a simple equation. How many hours you're willing to put in and whom you surround yourself with and the quality of service that you provide is going to dictate how much money you have. That's it. So it's not more complicated than that.
Now, what is your biggest limiting factor right now, Eddie Hall, as you think about your growth in the commercial real estate space and the Domino space and the exotic car collection space? What's your biggest limiting factor right now?
Limiting factor, I mean, on the Domino side, there really isn't anything. On the commercial side, it's finding those properties that fit into our portfolio. But
so you're looking at a lot.
I'm doing a lot right now, yeah. We have a lot going on.
And do you have a broker that helps pitch you deals, or do you just look yourself?
No, we have a broker that helps us with the real estate.
Do you like your broker?
I love her.
Okay, great. If you didn't, I would have a backup plan referral for you. Okay, great. So you like your broker. Can we recommend your broker? Can we do that on the air?
Sure,
okay?
It's Amanda Dooner.
Amanda Dooner.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm sure you get asked all the time if people can pick your brain. So I'm going to give you the floor a little bit. What are some principles or things you would love to share with our listeners out there, most of which are self-employed and or want to be, that you would say, hey, here's some things I've learned. Learn these things.
So when somebody asks me that, I usually just go to my core values that we use in our company, which is Team Next Level, which is customers first, 100% integrity, which is a big thing for me, positive training, and the will to work, great work ethic. So those are the kind of things that I kind of preach to everybody when they ask me, what are some things I should focus on?
We go through those, kind of unpack those one by one real quick here?
Sure.
Okay, let's go with the first one. What's the first core one?
Customers first.
What does that mean?
Oh, to us, I mean, they are why we're here. So they pay our paychecks. They're the ones that provide the money. We need to make sure they're 100% satisfied all the time.
Second value was what?
100% integrity.
100% integrity. Now, the word integrity means, from the word integer, it means undivisible, the whole number. What does that mean to you?
For me, it just means I want people to do what they say they're going to do. I want them to.
That's never going to happen. I mean, no, seriously, if you do that, you stand out.
I want them to do it right. I don't want them to cheat to do it.
Yeah.
And great things come out of that. So.
And you said there's one more principle. I think you said one more thing.
I said positive training.
Positive training. What does that mean?
We like to create an atmosphere in the company that allows people to grow.
True.
So
you're never done training over there.
Never done training. Never trying to get people to pursue their career.
Never done interviewing people.
Never done interviewing.
Never
people.
done recruiting.
No.
Never done training. But people want to get done. They go, now I've got a good team. Now I'm done recruiting. What would you say to somebody who says, now that I have a good team, I'm going to be done training? What would you say?
Nobody in my company says that ever.
Okay.
Because they know that we are always hiring. Always.
Now, Andrew Bloomer here, he's a 21-year-old guy. A little commercial for Andrew. He's been on our team for 3 years, going on probably 3.5 years. He's a married guy, 21 years old. He has his first rental property. He has his own house as well. He's a new member of the Six-Figure Club on the income level. He's doing great. He coaches clients down the path. He knows videography, photography, web development. What else do you audio editing? You mess with that?
Yeah.
What else do you do?
Photo, video, SEO, coaching clients.
He's kind of a mutant. So he's like where we all look back and go, when I was 21, if I was there, I would be here. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's that guy. So Andrew is married to a wonderful lady. He's avoided the idiot phase of his life. Mm-hmm. Andrew, what question would you have, or questions would you have for Eddie on behalf of your clients, many of which are doing great, some of which need that little kick in the tail sometimes before they have that epiphany? What questions would you have for Eddie on behalf of maybe former clients or current clients that might be listening to today's show?
Yeah, absolutely. So it sounds like from what you were saying earlier with your sales and those numbers, it sounds like you really know your numbers for whether, for all the shops, for all the stores, for probably each individual location. So I'm curious, how important for you is it to look at those numbers, to know the numbers, and how often are you looking at those? So
I am looking at those numbers all day long, and every morning and every week. So like I said, it's at the tip of my fingers with my phone, so we can look at that stuff. We're meeting about them. I talk to my director of operations probably 4 times a day because we're also really close. But every Monday we meet, me and the director of operations supervisor, and we go through the previous weeks and where we're at for the period, where we're at for the quarter. We go through all those numbers, sales numbers, food variances, labor variances, service.
So good.
Yeah, Tiger Reports, which is our theft. It'll show us if somebody's stealing. Cash flow. I mean, cash shortage, cash flow.
People steal pizza?
Yeah.
Is this customers or employees?
Yeah. No, it's employees.
Okay.
Well, hey, Eddie, it's really good. Yeah. If I worked there, I might steal pizza.
But
that might be a thing.
But you look at the numbers every day?
All the time.
Every day. And the key numbers that you would say to all the listeners they need to know would be what?
Yeah, so my key numbers are the first thing when I wake up in the morning and I pull up my phone, I'm looking at sales. Food variance, labor variance.
What does food variance mean to you?
So food variance is our food costs and what they should have put. So if a large pepperoni is supposed to get 40 pepperonis and they put 50 on there, they wasted food.
Got so food variance.
It's money out of the bank.
Okay, and what was the next variance you looked at?
Labor variance.
Got it.
So same thing. We have a labor scheduler that tells us exactly how many people.
Overstaffed, understaffed.
Yep, overstaffed, understaffed. And then we check service.
Got it.
And so those are the 4 things that I check first thing in the morning every day.
Do you do net promoter scores at Domino's where you survey clients to see if they're happy?
Yep. So we have a report called the CSAT report. It's our customer service analytics tracking system.
I love this. I could talk about this all night.
I got to show it to you. It's amazing. But yeah, it tells us everything. Net promoters. It tells us, customer care. Ranks us.
This is interesting. After all of our conferences, we call everybody who attends and asks them their feedback. How was it? What could that kind of thing. Why do people who have a business that's not doing well never want to know customer feedback? Why is that a universal trait? When people are not doing well, you would think they'd want to know how to get better. But I see it a lot in the personal training industry for fitness, where they're like, all of our clients cancel, and you go, well, because they don't like you. Steve, I'm sure you've seen this with personal trainers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we should survey them. No, I don't want to. Why? Because they're wrong.
Yeah.
Well, that's why our first core value is customers first. So you got to know what customers think about you, and what their feedback is, so you can get better.
Andrew, you've got a man who really doesn't do a lot of interviews here to do an interview. So what other questions would you have on behalf of your clients who might want to ask Eddie a question? Because he's a guru. I mean, a $20 million pizza business, making millions one pizza at a time. What's another question you might have for Mr. Eddie?
Yeah, so you mentioned systems and checklists and recipes, and like those are all things that Domino's has created for you, right? So those are things that they've already set up. You're not running around trying to create recipes for how to make a pizza, for how to, you know. So what would you say to somebody who has decided to not go the franchise route, but to rather go, the traditional, go start a business, who doesn't want to take the time to create the systems because I know it, they know it by memory. What would you say to that person who's not willing to take out the time to actually create the recipes and the systems and all those checklists?
I mean, the first thing that I would say is that I think that they're going to fail. They have to take the time to put those systems into place and figure out how they're going to run their business.
Yeah.
So
would you say, like, excuse me, Mr. Idiot? Yes, you're going to fail because you're an idiot. That's what you would say. That's what I would say. I would say, excuse me, Mr. Idiot.
Yeah.
Yes, you're going to fail.
Now, you two guys are a member of this car club. What do you call this thing, Steve, your car club?
Well, it's the Lambros now, but I mean, we started out as like the Tulsa DDE, which is a channel.
Before
that
we leave, I want to make sure Ken will go out there and film some cars a little bit and show some, because this is one thing that's cool about your car club.
There are no cars. We don't bring cars to your driveway, bro. Come on.
Oh, my driveway. So you're in the Lexus?
Yep.
Okay, so you really are you went down all the way to the Lexus.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
It's that kind of day.
But you guys have a car club, and we can learn more about it by going to Lambros, the YouTube channel.
LambrosSteve.com.
LambrosSteve.com. Lambros, plural?
Just LambrosSteve.com.
LambrosSteve.com. So we go there to LambrosSteve.com.
Or LambrosTeve.com.
That's easier for me to remember. Okay. But you guys all have these nice cars. There's Lamborghinis in there. There's Porsches. I'm not into vehicles.
McLarens.
And the one thing I would highly recommend for anybody out there who could join your club or be a part of it is you're going to be around people that all worked hard to buy said cars. And the vast majority of people in your group started with nothing.
Yeah.
And according to the Millionaire Next Door, which is a great book, 88% of America's millionaires today are first generation. Now, there's a new book that just came out by Chris Hogan, who's an African-American self-help guru. Phenomenal book. The data that he shows is even higher now. He's shown it's like 90% of people who are millionaires came from nothing.
Yeah.
But there's somebody out there who loves Bernie Sanders. Oh, they love Bernie. And, Bernie's, Bernie's, he's figured it out. He's figured out how to be a kind of a pro-communist, but still be a capitalist. He makes millions of dollars by preaching against capitalism. And so we've created there's a certain culture right now that feels like the world's owed him something. Mm-hmm. What would you say, Eddie, for somebody who says the world owes him something? You worked for 7 years at a Domino's, delayed gratification. You've worked really hard to get where you are. And I'm sure you've pulled into a gas station in your luxury car, and I'm sure you've heard a comment from a person who's propelling poverty out of their mouth.
Daddy's money.
And
That's what they say.
That must be nice.
Daddy's money.
You've heard that, right?
Nice.
Oh, yes, for
must
sure.
be nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
while
must
they're
be nice.
smoking their pot, they're sitting there smoking their pot,
There's starving kids in Africa, and you're wasting money on
What
that
would
car.
you say to that person if we could sit down one-on-one? They're on the other end of the camera. You could look right at them, and they're going, "You're entitled. I deserve." They want to raise your taxes because they need more free stuff. What would you tell them? What would be your tip?
I mean, usually my response to those guys when they're saying, "Oh, daddy's money," I really just get into my story with them, and I tell them, I did all this with hard work, so I didn't have a handout. You don't need a handout. You just need to get out there and do what you need to do. You need to go do the work.
You actually have that conversation with them.
Oh, I have it all the time.
Does it go well?
It never goes well. No, because I usually end up.
Never goes.
Yeah,
well.
I usually end up telling them they're.
Yeah, I know.
Pieces of.
Yeah. But what happens is that this is interesting. I don't drive a luxury car, but my office is nice, and I see people all the time that come to the office and they'll do this, Steve. It's the employees of the clients, not the client. The clients are always curious. Clients are always going, "I wonder how he did that." Even the successful ones who are already successful, I wonder how he did that. And they're curious about how to do it.
Right.
The employees who work for the clients, by and large, not always, but most of the time, say stuff like, kind of smirking.
Yeah.
Must be nice.
Must be nice.
And then I'll say, what do you mean? They'll say, well, just must be nice working in an environment like this, work environment. And I'll say, I did get to work today at 3 a.m. Today, most days 4. Let's just say on average 4. What time do you go to work? And they go, oh, well, 8. But I have carpal tunnel. I'm going through a thing. Okay. And then I usually leave work at 5. Then I do that, 6 days a week usually. And on the weekends, if the kids have cheerleading, it's 6 days a week. If they don't have cheerleading, it's 5. But I would say conservatively from 3 a.m. to 6 every day, book it. That's 12 hours plus 3. So it's 15 hours a day, 6 days a week, plus Saturdays. I usually sneak in about 15 hours a week on the weekends. That's how I lucked into it. How many hours a week are you working? And we discover, even if we were just having a foot race and we were the exact same speed, I would be twice as far ahead because of the hours I put into it,
Right.
And they go, well, do you hate your family? I said, no, you missed out.
But what about work-life
I get
balance?
home at 6, but I don't watch TV. Now, New York Post and New York Times report the average person watches TV now 5.2 hours per day. The average person is on social media 11.3 hours per day, according to Nielsen. That's a full-time job, bro.
It's your fault.
So I point to him, I'm not working more than you. You're just working on stuff that doesn't amount to anything.
Yeah.
Do you see this phenomenon there? I mean, do you see?
So we were at a car show one time, and these two guys, probably 20 years old, walked up to us, and he's like, "Oh man, that car's sweet, man. I have to get me one of those one day." And the guy goes, "Oh man, you're gonna have to work like 40 hours a week to get that." And I was blown away. Freddie was there, and Freddie goes, "Bro, better double that."
Yeah,
like
exactly.
80 hours a week. Yeah.
There's a book that I love so much called, I believe, 8 Seconds. I read it back in the day. It's about the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
And the story is Steve Nash is a point guard at the time. And he's in the locker room with all these NBA players. And the book is great. Steve, you would love the audiobook if they have it. But there's a reporter who gets to spend a whole year with the Phoenix Suns. And this is when they're at the peak, okay? So he's writing down all the notes. And the players, they get fined if they're late. And so one particular player, who I won't mention his name, and Kendall, do not show the video footage of this. Do not show the video footage of this. But I'll show it to you guys because it'll blow your mind. This particular guy gets sold on the idea that if you take a champagne bath, then you will be able to extend your playing career somehow. Here he is.
What?
Yeah. No. And there he is. And in the bottles he's pouring in are like $300 a bottle. And he's in there, and this guy's making, $17 to $20 million a year at the time. And so one of the players, Steve Nash, pulls him aside and says, "Hey, dude, you got to watch your money because there's not a lot of careers where you can make this much. And after taxes, bro, you only get to keep half maybe, because you're in Phoenix and the taxes federal and state. And you got income tax, property tax. You after all those taxes, you maybe are keeping 40% after all the taxes. So you got to lay off the champagne bath, And he says, all right, man, okay, that's cool. Well, this guy's a 19, 20-year-old guy. And then Steve says, you got to stop being late because you're getting fined like $5,000 a day for being late. And he goes, shoot, man. I used to take my mom, man. My mom's, it took her like a whole week to make that much, man. And Steve's like,
whole week.
Do you understand that you grew up on food stamps? Your mom didn't earn $5,000 in a week or in 2 months, let alone 3 months. Do you understand? And there's no concept of the value of money. So the book progresses. It's really funny because he says, man, Steve, man, I've been investing. I've been doing what you're saying, and I've been investing now in assets. So he said, what'd you get? He goes out and sees, and it's all these super luxury cars that are brand new. And so you guys, when you buy your cars, you're buying them because they're fun. But you understand the difference between an asset and a liability.
Sure. Right.
So I want to make sure we're getting this because some people go, oh, that's how he made his money. You see, the Eddie, the Domino's guy, he makes all of his money with his cars. So when you buy a Porsche or something, what does a Porsche cost?
Oh, I mean, they range. The GT3 RS
anywhere
is
from
around 200.
Anywhere from 19,000 to
19,000 to 20,000.
How much is a Porsche?
Hey, you know what Porsche stands for? Just to be clear, and then I'll let him talk. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm poor.
Poor-ish.
What does a Porsche stand for?
Poor-ish. So the GT3 RS I have new would be $200K.
$200,000.
Yeah.
Okay. So you buy that car, and that doesn't make you money. It's a liability. So in the asset column, it's a liability. Now, when you're doing the financial network statement, you could take the asset minus the debt on it, whatever. But the point is, it doesn't make you money. So it's a liability. If we oversimplify it. Right. But then an asset is like the commercial real estate. Can you explain for someone who's kind of new to entrepreneurship listening the difference between a commercial property and a Domino's, and an asset and a liability?
Yes. So the commercial property appreciates.
Got it.
So it's simple. You'll continue to make money off of that. We keep anywhere from 20 to 50% in equity in our commercial properties.
Got it.
I mean, you have access to that money if you need it. So I mean, it's an asset.
Yeah.
And then the cool thing about commercial property is when you have tenants, they're really paying for everything. And
then after servicing the debt, you said once it's more than half full, you're making cash.
Making money. Yep.
And you're making pretty decent money.
Pretty good money.
You're signing people into 3-year leases, 5-year agreements.
We do 7-year leases.
7-year leases.
Yeah.
So what I want to do now is I have 3 final questions for you, and then Andrew, you can ask one final one here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Daily habits. What do you do on a daily basis? Like, what time are you waking up every day? What do the first 4 hours look like?
Yeah. So Domino's. I mean, 28 years in this career now. We stay up pretty late. So we open early and we're open late. I mean, I have a store that closes at 3 a.m. So my habits are a little different than people that do the 9 to 5.
But that's the Domino's workflow.
Yeah. So I'm usually up till midnight or so.
Yep.
And then I'm usually up by 6.
Got it.
Usually go to the gym.
Yep.
And then after that, I'm checking my checklist, my calendar for the day. Usually around 9 o'clock, I'm on my morning call with my director of operations.
You've got a checklist.
Yeah.
Every day you have that. You have a calendar every day?
2 calendars.
You have a to-do list?
Yeah, to-do list. Yep.
Every day.
And I use and I'm kind of old school. I use the pad for.
Can you look at that pad? Look at that pad. Now, what would happen if you didn't have your to-do list or calendar? Would you know what was going on?
No.
Yeah. See, that's interesting. And this is like it's so important for someone listening out there. That's the cornerstone of success. If you don't have a to-do list, you can't win. I don't care how smart you are. If you don't have a to-do list and a calendar, and people fight back about this all the time, just get it. Get a to-do list, get a calendar. And he said he's kind of old school. I'll tell you this little secret. I've spent days, an entire day, with the founder of Hobby Lobby, billionaires, millionaires, many, many times. This is what I do. I kind of view myself as Napoleon Hill Part 2. I just run around interviewing super successful people to see what they do. A lot of clipboards. Even the young bucks have clipboards. Not a lot of phone to-do list apps. I'll tell you why. You turn on that phone, you got a distraction coming in. According to Psychology Today, the average person is interrupted over 90 times per day, homies. So get off that phone, get on that to-do list. Next question for you. Proactive guy. I would assume that you have plans for the future, and I'm not asking you to share your plans for the future, but do you have some certain goals that you're working towards in your mind, or are you kind of done with the goal thing right now, or what did you have some things you're pushing towards?
I'll always have goals, so I always have them. Right now we have a lot of projects that we're working on. Yep. So my short-term goals are to get those projects done. I mean, we have 2 strip centers we're doing right now. We have 3 more Domino's we're opening.
That's awesome.
So those are short-term. Long-term goals are within the next 5 years, I'd like to have the commercial property business big enough to where if I wanted to sell the Domino's, I could.
Have you sold some Domino's in the past?
I have, yes.
Okay, and when you sell them, can you do you get a multiple of the profits? Like let's say a store made $100,000 this year, can you usually get 3x or 4x or 5x? Well, how much can you get for a Domino's if you sell it?
So they range depending on sales and cash flow, of course. They're ranging anywhere from 4 to 6 times cash flow.
4 to 6 times the cash flow, and I'll tell you why. Because the systems are good. And if you're out there building a small business without the systems, people know as soon as you sell it to them, it's not going to work. Build the systems. The most selfish thing you can do for your family and your financial freedom is build those systems. Final question I have here for you. Are you one of the larger Domino's owners in the country? Are you smaller? Are there guys bigger than you, have more Domino's? How do you fit into the scheme of Domino's operators out there?
So there's definitely, I believe the average is around 5 stores is the average.
Got it.
There's definitely some big guys out there. There's our very first franchisee that has 300 stores.
Super cool.
We have a couple guys with 100 stores, but I'm considered a big franchise at over 15.
It's awesome. I love this. This is
good stuff.
I love this. This is just I'm telling you, If you're listening right now, you're overcomplicating it 90% of the time. You're trying to make a business system. You're trying to sell something that the world doesn't want. You're trying to run around selling something the world doesn't want, and nothing could be more discouraging than you hand painting ducks and then going to the state fair and setting them out. This isn't funny. This is sad for somebody. And you set these out and no one buys them. And you're living a life of poverty. Just sell something the world wants. Find a problem and solve it. Find a need the world has and fill it. Andrew, we have time for one more question from the young buck. What question do you have, sir?
Yes. So let's say someone's looking to buy a franchise. So what things should they look for? Is it even possible for someone to get in? I know you mentioned that you said 95% of the Domino's franchise owners were at one point a delivery driver. So is it possible for someone to get in to the franchise world of Domino's, or what's a good fit for Domino's?
So one awesome thing about Domino's is they've kept it internal like that, so you know that you're getting a great operator that's well, hopefully you're getting a great operator when they come next to you.
Got it.
But you can get into the system. You have to come and work in a store, though. So there is a 6-month to 1-year training program. So you can't just come in with millions of dollars and say, let me buy all these stores.
Super smart. It's really good.
Yep. You have to go through the training and go through those steps to get approved.
Chick-fil-A is the same way.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A is the same way. Outback Steakhouse the same way. A lot of the great brands that stay strong do that. I'm going to give you the mic before we drop the mic. What's your final hot take or your word of encouragement? We've got about 500,000 people that choose to listen to this show. This month we've got the founder of Netflix on the show. We got the founder of Square. A lot of great people. But I personally am most interested right now in what you have to say because you're doing it. You've done it. And you decided to take time out of your schedule. You're not a coach or a consultant who gets paid to do this. There's not a win for you other than just sharing what you've learned. Well, what is a tip or advice you want to give to the listeners?
Plus, I don't think I have a very good radio voice, but
it's a great. It's pretty good. Beautiful.
I would say that my best advice is what's worked for me, which is hard work really does pay off. And so if you get out there and push yourself, to be number one, to be the best, it will work out for you. And then also, success, it's not an elevator, it's a staircase. So you got to be able to take the ups and downs and really focus. And that's what I would, tell everybody out there.
So you got some ups and downs.
It's hard. It's tough.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's not
easy.
It's
not just a push of a button.
It's hard. It's like taking the stairs. It's not like taking the elevator up to the top.
Yeah.
Okay. That's powerful.
That's good stuff.
Is there a certain website people can learn more about you? Do you have like a YouTube channel where you're hanging out with Steve? Is there any way people can learn more about you?
I
go to Domino's in Tulsa.
I post car stuff on Fat and Skinny Bros Instagram. So Fat and Skinny Bros is
Fat and Skinny Bros on Instagram.
Yeah, that's my car thing. Has nothing to do with Domino's or business, but it's just a car deal. So don't have anything else really out there. So.
Eddie Hall, I greatly appreciate you so much. And if you're out there today, go eat Domino's in moderation. But go eat Domino's. Not too much at one time.
No, order a lot.
Order a lot from Eddie, but then don't eat it so you stay thin, but you're helping support him. That's what we're going to do. Order a ton. Don't eat very much. If you live in Tulsa, buy Domino's every single day. Throw it away so you stay thin, but his wallet stay fat. Without any further ado, here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom. Stop what you're doing and think about this for a second. What would happen if your company was suddenly able to generate exponentially more quality sales leads? On today's show, we interview the Domino's Pizza King. That's right, folks. We interview the Prince of Pizzas and the Domino's dominant franchisee, Eddie Hall, as he shares with you how he built a $20 million pizza business, one pizza at a time. On today's show, Eddie Hall shares with you his path to building a $20 million pizza franchise business and a commercial real estate empire, and how it all started by getting a job working at Domino's at the age of 18. He shares with you the importance of knowing your numbers, of having a calendar, having a to-do list, and just implementing the proven systems that work. If you want to own luxury cars and you want to live a life of phenomenal ends and means, this is the show for you. Because Eddie Hall is dropping knowledge bombs, like we've got a radar lock on an old school Saddam.
Attention entrepreneurial students. This is not a test. This is a real knowledge bombing. A total carpet bombing. complete knowledge bombing. This is not a test. Please report to the lab with a pin in the past where you can hide from the truth.
3, 2, 1, boom! You are now entering the dojo of Mojo and the Thrive Time Show.
Thrive Time Show on the microphone. What is this? Top of the iTunes charts in the category of business. Drilling down on business topics like we are a dentist. Providing you with mentorship like you are an apprentice. And we go so fast that you might get motion sickness. Grab a pen and pad to the lab. Let's get in this. It's time to bear some fruit like some Florida oranges. 3, 2, 1. Here come the business ninjas.
Sonic boom! Yes, yes, and yes. Thrive Nation, on today's show, this is the most excited I have been to do an interview, and I'm going to go with in a year. I'm going to say a year. Wes, I'm going on the record. This is the most excited I've been in about a year.
That's pretty impressive.
Whoa.
We interviewed Sharon Lecter, who wrote the Rich Dad Poor Dad book. That was good. That was good. But this is so practical. So if you're listening right now today and you need tactical, practical skills to pay the bills, if you want to create time freedom, I want you to turn to the person next to you in the car who's listening right now with you and kind of go, shh, shh, shh. I want you to just shh. Whenever you shush somebody, you feel bad. So let me shush them for you. You just look at them and I'll shush them. Shh. Then I need you to pull over, maybe get out a pen and pad, because we are going to enter into the dojo of Mojo Faux Show. On today's show, we have the super successful Domino's Pizza franchise owner, Eddie Hall. Eddie Hall, welcome onto the Thrive Time Show. How are you, sir?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Oh man, I am excited that you are here, and I'm sorry I misplaced the microphone, but it's closer to you now. Are you feeling good today?
Yeah, I'm short. Sorry.
Okay. Now you started your career with Domino's, I believe, in 1999. Is that correct?
I started in 92.
92.
First franchise in 99. Yeah.
How old were you in 92?
92, I was 18.
18?
Yep.
And how did you get the money to start this first franchise?
So first franchise in 99, I was actually 25.
25.
So, yeah, to get that money, I actually partnered up with another supervisor that I was working with in Dallas.
Yeah.
And his dad had a $100,000 working capital to invest in us, and then we took our savings that we had over the 7 years that I worked at Domino's in Dallas.
Did you start off as a driver, Domino's driver?
I actually started, so 95% of franchisees start as a driver. I actually started my first day as a manager in training, but did the first 4 weeks of delivering pizzas. So
Go back,
yes and no.
Go back,
That's
if you
awesome.
can, mentally back to the age of 18. Where was this Domino's located?
It was in Richardson, Texas.
Richardson, Texas.
Yep.
How many people were working in the store?
So this store wasn't a super high volume store. There was probably about 15
employees.
Employees, yeah.
The 18-year-old version of yourself, being just totally transparent here. Were you an idiot at the age of 18?
Definitely.
Yeah.
You were
I was a punk kid.
A punk
Idiot. Yeah.
Yeah. And then when did you realize, wow, I can escape the dark pole of jackassery and not be an idiot? When did you have that first thought?
So working in the stores, I was still that punk kid for probably about 6 to 8 months.
Okay.
I was pretty mature at the time. I had left my wife in El Paso. When I knew I wanted to become a manager, I was going to come out there, work hard, become a manager, then move back and marry her and move her to Dallas.
Got it.
So I worked up pretty hard. It was my supervisor came in one day and said, "You can't be these people's friends anymore. You got to be a leader."
Come on.
And
so you were, and how old were you at that time when he had that conversation with you?
I was probably 18 and a half, almost 19.
Okay, and so you remember it though?
Oh, 100%.
What was his name?
Mark Frisbee. It's my mentor.
Do you think that Mark Frisbee changed your life?
Definitely 100%. Yeah.
Is he alive?
He is.
Where does he live?
He's in McKinney, Texas.
If you're out there today and you live in the McKinney, Texas area and you see a Mark Frisbee, tell him he changed somebody's life. I'm telling you, this is so powerful. Some people say, Clay, who were your mentors or who was your mentor? I'm a guy who I really, really like to read books from people that have figured it out. So wherever I'm stuck, I just read a book or I'll relentlessly harass people. But I've had so many great mentors, and I'm just telling you, when you have somebody that unlocks your success, it's just powerful when somebody points you in the right direction. So he kind of straightened you out.
For sure, and I still talk to him today. In fact, I talked to him on Thursday. I'll
call
him and I'll fill up a notebook full of notes, just kind of old school stuff. I just love talking to them.
What kind of morons were you hanging out with? I mean, I'm not asking you specific names, but what kind of jackassery were these people involved in where you said, you just can't be around it anymore?
You name it. You name it, we were doing it. I mean, just, again, I was a little bit more mature. I already had a wife and kid, you know, and so at a young age. So I kind of had to provide for them.
Got it.
But yeah, the friends at that age are always wanted to party and drink and go out and all that kind of stuff. I just wasn't doing that.
So then you got it together. And how old were you where you had the money from your friend's dad? He invested in you and the money you had saved. How old were you when you pulled the trigger and bought that first one?
25.
25?
Yep.
How much money did you save in your bank account on your own during those 7 years?
It wasn't a lot. We started off with about 15 grand.
15 grand
of my own money. Yeah.
15 grand saved over about 7 years. Working at Domino's.
Yep.
The first store. When you've got that first store of your own, do you remember that store?
And it was actually 4 stores. We bought 4 at the same time.
Do you remember all 4 of those stores?
Yeah, they were here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Yes.
Where were they?
71st and Sheridan.
Yeah.
26th and Harvard.
Yep.
Gilcrease and Edison.
Good morning. Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Radio Show. Today I'm broadcasting from Phoenix, Arizona, not Scottsdale, Arizona. They're close, but they're completely different worlds. And we have a special guest today. Definition of intelligence is if you agree with me, you're intelligent. And so this gentleman is very intelligent. I've done this show before also, but very seldom do you find somebody who lines up on all counts. And it's a Mr. Clay Clark. He's a friend of a good friend, Eric Trump. But we're also talking about money, bricks, and how screwed up the world can get in a few and a half hour. So Clay Clark is a very intelligent man, and there's so many ways we could take this thing. But I thought, since you and Eric are close, Trump, what were you saying about what Trump can't, what Donald, who's my age, and I can say or cannot say?
First of all, I have to honor you, sir. I want to show you what I did to one of your books here. There's a guy by the name of Jeremy Thorne, who was my boss at the time. I was 19 years old, working at Faith Highway. I had a job at Applebee's, Target, and DirecTV. And he said, "Have you read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad?" And I said, "No." And my father, may he rest in peace, he didn't know these financial principles. So I started reading all of your books and really devouring your books. And I went from being an employee to self-employed, to the business owner, to the investor. And I owe a lot of that to you. And I just wanted to take a moment to tell you, thank you so much for allowing me to achieve success. And then I'll tell you all about Eric Trump. But I just want to tell you, thank you, sir, for changing my life.
But not only that, Clay, thank you, but you become an influencer. More than anything else, you've evolved into an influencer where your word has more and more power. So that's why I congratulate you on becoming. Because as you know, there's a lot of fake influencers out there too, or bad influencers.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm glad you and I agree so much, and thanks for reading my books.
Yeah.
That's the greatest thrill for me today.
Hey, I'm Ryan Wimpy. I'm originally from Tulsa, born and raised here. I've definitely learned a lot about life design and making sure the business serves you. The linear workflow for us and getting everything out on paper and documented is really important. We have workflows that are kind of all over the place, so having linear workflow and seeing that mapped out on multiple different boards is pretty awesome. That's really helpful for me. The atmosphere here is awesome. I definitely just stared at the walls, figuring out how to make my facility look like this place. This place rocks. It's invigorating. The walls are super, it's just very cool. The atmosphere is cool. The people are nice. It's a pretty cool place to be. Very good learning atmosphere. I literally want to model it and steal everything that's here at this facility and basically create it just on our business side. Clay is hilarious. I literally laughed so hard that I started having tears yesterday. And we've been learning a lot, which, we've been sitting here, we've been learning a lot. And so the humor definitely helps. It breaks it up. But the content is awesome, off the charts. And it's very interactive. You can raise your hand. It's not like you're just listening to the professor speak, The wizard teaches, but the wizard interacts and he takes questions, so that's awesome. If you're not attending the conference, you're missing about 3/4 to half of your life. You're definitely it's probably worth a couple $1,000s. So you're missing the thought process of someone that's already started like 9 profitable businesses. So not only is it a lot of good information, but just getting in the thought process of Clay Clark or Dr. Zellner or any of the other coaches, getting in their thought process of how they're starting all these businesses, to me, just that is priceless. That's money. Well, we're definitely not getting upsold here. My wife and I have attended conferences where where it was great information and then they upsold us like half the conference, and I don't want to like bang my head into a wall, and she's like banging her head into the chair in front of her. Like, it's good information, but we're like, oh my gosh, I want to strangle you. Shut up and go with the presentation that we paid for. And that's not here. There's no upsells or anything, so that's awesome. I hate that. It makes me angry. So glad that's not happening. So the cost of this conference is quite a bit cheaper than business college. I went to a small private liberal arts college and got a degree in business, and I didn't learn anything like they're teaching here. I didn't learn linear workflows. I learned stuff that I'm not using, and I haven't been using for the last 9 years. So what they're teaching here is actually way better than what I got at business school. And I went what was actually ranked as a very good business school. I would definitely recommend that people would check out the Thrive 15 conference. The information that you're going to get is just very, very beneficial, and the mindset that you're going to get, that you're going to leave with, is just absolutely worth the price of a little bit of money and a few days worth of your time.
I'm Rachel with Tip Top Canine, and we just want to give a huge thank you to Clay and Vanessa Clark.
Hey guys, I'm Ryan with Tip Top Canine. Just want to say a big thank you to Thrive 15. Thank you to Make Your Life Epic. We love you guys, we appreciate you, and really just appreciate how far you've taken us. This is our old house, right? This is where we used to live a few years ago. This is our old neighborhood. See? It's nice, right? So this is my old van and our old school marketing, and this is our old team. And by team, I mean it's me and another guy.
This is our new house with our new neighborhood. This is our new van with our new marketing, and this is our new team. We went from 4 to 14, and I took this beautiful photo. We worked with several different business coaches in the past, and they were all about helping Ryan sell better and just teaching sales, which is awesome, but Ryan is a really great salesman. So we didn't need that. We needed somebody to help us get everything that was in his head out into systems, into manuals and scripts, and actually build a team. So now that we have systems in place, we've gone from 1 to 10 locations in only a year.
In October 2016, we grossed $13,000 for the whole month. Right now it's 2018, the month of October. It's only the 22nd. We've already grossed a little over $50,000 for the whole month, and we still have time to go. We're just thankful for you, thankful for Thrive and your mentorship, and we're really thankful that you guys have helped us to grow a business that we run now instead of the business running us. Just thank you times 1,000.
The Thrive Time Show 2-day interactive business workshops are the highest and most reviewed business workshops on the planet.
You can learn the proven 13-point business systems that Dr. Zellner and I have used over and over to start and grow successful companies. I mean, we get into the specific steps on what you need to do to optimize your website. We're going to teach you how to fix your conversion rate. We're going to teach you how to do a social media marketing campaign that works. How do you raise capital? How do you get a small business loan? We teach you everything you need to know here during a 2-day, 15-hour workshop. It's all here for you. You work every day in your business, but for 2 days you can escape and work on your business and build these proven systems so now you can have a successful company that will produce both the time freedom and the financial freedom that you deserve. You're going to leave energized, motivated, but you're also going to leave empowered. The reason why I've built these workshops is because as an entrepreneur, I always wish that I had this. And because there wasn't anything like this, I would go to these motivational seminars, no money down, real estate, Ponzi scheme, get motivated seminars, and they would never teach me anything. It was like you went there and you paid for the big chocolate Easter bunny, but inside of it was a hollow nothingness. And I wanted the knowledge, and they're like, oh, but we'll teach you the knowledge after our next workshop. And And the great thing is we have nothing to upsell. At every workshop, we teach you what you need to know. There's no one in the back of the room trying to sell you some next big get-rich-quick, walk-on-hot coals product. It's literally, we teach you the brass tacks, the specific stuff that you need to know to learn how to start and grow a business. And I encourage you to not believe what I'm saying, and I want you to Google the Z66 auto auction. I want you to Google elephant in the room. Look at Robert Zellner and Associates. Look them up and say, are they successful because they're geniuses, or are they successful because they have a proven system? When you do that research, you will discover that the same systems that we use in our own business can be used in your business. Come to Tulsa, book a ticket, and I guarantee you it's going to be the best business workshop ever, and we'll even give you your money back if you don't love it. We've built this facility for you, and we're excited to see you.
All right. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring up my good friend Ryan Wimpy, and his dog, Odin. This dog has the ability to eat me, so I'm sort of concerned. I'll pass the mic to you. And Odin, you can have your own mic if you want, whatever you want, Odin. Okay, I'm a little bit afraid of Odin.
Hi, I'm Ryan Wimpy.
And I'm Rachel Wimpy, and the name of our business is Tip Top Canine.
Our business is a dog training business. We help people with behavioral issues and teach their dog how to listen. When I was learning to become a dog trainer, we didn't learn anything about internet marketing or advertising or anything at all. Just dog training. And that's what's so great about working with Clay and his team, because they do it all for us.
So that we can focus on our passion, and that's training dogs. Clay and his team here, they're so enthusiastic. Their energy is off the charts. Never a dull moment here at Thrive.
We've been working with Clay and his team for the last 5 months, 2 of which have been our biggest months ever. 1, our biggest gross by 35%. Clay's helped us make anything from brochures to stickers, new business cards, new logos, scripts for phones, script for email, script for text message, scripting for everything.
How I would describe the weekly meetings with Clay and his team are awesome. They're so effective. It's worth every minute. Things get done. We'll ask for things like different flyers, and they're done before our hour is up. So it's just awesome, extremely effective.
If you don't use Clay and his team, you're probably going to be pulling your hair out, or you're going to spend half of your time trying to figure out the online marketing game and producing your own flyers and marketing materials, print materials, all the stuff like that. You're really losing a lot as far as lost productivity and lost time, not having a professional do it that has a real sense of urgency and that actually knows what they're doing when you already have something that's your core focus that you already know how to do.
You would also be missing out with all the time and financial freedom that you would have working with Clay and his team.
We would recommend Clay and his team to other business owners because they need to be working on their business, not just trying to figure out the online game, which is complex and changing daily. So no one has a marketing team too. Most people don't. They can't afford one, and their local web guy or a local person that they know probably can't do everything that a whole team and a whole floor of people can do in hours and not just weeks or months. There's a definite sense of urgency with Clay and his team. I used to have to ride other web people, really ride them to get stuff done, and stuff is done so fast here, and there's a real sense of urgency to get it done.